That's all I've got to. No, I do not. No, I thought I did, but
you staple it all together?
no, actually, hang on, guys.
They're all stapled together.
We do have. Yeah, that's right.
Two pages of minutes.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Oldham County Board of Adjustments and Appeals. My name's Larry Otterback. It is a little bit after 9 o'clock, and we are now in session. We have two cases before us this morning. Procedures for both cases are going to be the same. Here in a minute, I'm going to swear staff in. Gretchen is going to read the item on the docket. I'm going to call staff forward. Staff's going to come up, give us a staff report. There's going to be a round of questioning by us board members to staff. And when we're done with that, staff's going to take a seat. I'm going to call you forward. You're going to come up to the podium. Make sure you come to the podium, speak into the mic. Everything's being recorded, so make sure you're speaking directly into the mic. You're going to raise your right hand, get sworn in, state your name and address, and then justify your project. When we're done with that, there'll probably be a round of questioning by board members to you, the applicant. And when we're done with that, you may take a seat, and I'm going to call forward anybody that wishes to speak in favor of the application, and then those opposed. Seeing nobody else in the audience here, there's probably not going to be, but it's going to be the same thing. If there is anybody, they'll come forward, get sworn in, state name and address, tell us why they're in favor, tell us why they're opposed. We'll go around the questioning, and then those members may take a seat. If that happens, again, there's nobody here, but if it does happen, you'll have a chance for rebuttals or final statements and things like that. Once we're done, I'll open it up to the board members to ask questions of anybody, staff or you. And when we're done with that, I'm going to close the floor and then open it up for a board member to have general discussion and then take an up and down vote. All right, everybody, please make sure phones are off. If you need to use your phone, just please excuse yourself from the courtroom. Make sure it's off when you come back in. Board members, that applies to you. Make sure your mics are on, and let's swear staff in.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, very good. Gretchen, you want to read the first case, please?
OC 22-043, an application has been filed requesting a conditional use permit to allow construction of an accessory structure without a primary structure on the property located at 5533 West Highway 524, Westport.
Good morning. Ryan Fisher, Oldham County Planning and Development Senior Planner, 100 West Jefferson and LaGrange. So as Ms. Chilwood stated, this is a conditional use permit for 5533 West Highway 524 to allow construction of an accessory structure without a primary structure on that property. Here is your site information. It's in a CO1 zoning area. It's currently undeveloped and sits on 5.29 acres. No previous site history. In our case history, we mailed those adjoining property owner notices out on December 2nd, and the public notice appeared in the Oldham Era on the 8th of December. Here is the parcel in question, Ohio River. It's right here. I will note this real quick. The adjoining property is actually an Oldham County Water District property. So that will come into play later on a slide that I talked to you about. So just kind of keep note of that. And then here is the zoning map as well, being in CO1 just across the street, R2. And then here is the kind of site plan that the applicants provided. So coming in here off 524 driveway, and then driveway over to this 30 by 24 proposed accessory structure. This is what it's kind of a rendering of what it will look like. I'm sure the applicants can share a little bit more information on that, but just simply a garage for storage space, and then there will be plumbing in there for small bathroom, utility sink type of deal. So the applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to allow a 720 square foot, 24 by 30 foot accessory structure to be located on the property without a primary structure. Applicants state in the justification statements that they plan to utilize the accessory dwelling while working on the property and to store equipment on the property until such time they build a primary residence. They did not provide a timetable for this in their justification. Applicants have completed a site evaluation for on-site septic system and plan to have, once again, that bathroom utility sink in the building. So section 250-030, accessory uses and structures, talks about a couple things we should look at. And then one is that shall follow the principal use. So no accessory use or structure may be developed until after the start of construction of the principal use on the building site. And no accessory use or structure may be used unless the principal use or structure has been developed, except after the review and approval as a conditional use. So that's why we're here today. And then except as otherwise permitted elsewhere in the ordinance, accessory uses and structures shall be located on the same parcel as the associated principal use. So why we're here today for this conditional use permit. So that proposed accessory structure meets all the other remaining standards of section 250-030 as well as section 260-030. And then as stated before, that proposed structure includes just a storage area and a bathroom area. So in regards to the Oldham County Water District property, and I'll show an email here in just a second once I'm done with this slide on the overhead, but this property is directly adjacent to 3 existing Oldham County water wells. So Russ Rose from the Oldham County Water District did send me an email this week about this, and that they just want to be able to ensure the viability of those wells into the future for the county. So per the email, which once again I'll show here in a second, they have been unable to determine if the septic system proposed will substantially reduce the level of nitrates leaching into the groundwater. Now I hope you all don't have a lot of questions about nitrates leaching into groundwater because I'm not the person to answer any of those. But he did state in his email that they have no objection to the conditional use permit if the applicant agrees to install a type of system needed to comply with the wellhead area protection tariff. So I'll show you this email here real quick. And then I will also submit to the board the wellhead tariff agreement that he sent as well, just to be placed into the record. So there is the email from Mr. Rose to the Water District, just to confirm what was really in that slide of that they don't have an objection. They just want to make sure there's agreement between Oldham County Health, Oldham County Water, and the applicants that the type of system will protect those wellheads. Everybody get a chance to? Okay.
When was this sent? Is there a date? I just don't see.
15th.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, well, December
9th.
December 9th, yeah.
Okay.
So. All right, switch back. I'll also put this email into the.
I'm sorry, can you put that email back up just for a second? Okay, thank you.
I switched over one too many times.
Thank you.
Right. There's just a few pictures of the property. These were submitted by the applicant. In the background there, you can see the river. So think about how you're coming in here off of a 524. This will be the road in, road over. That accessory structure will be around in this area here. Just a few more shots for you around the area where the accessory structure is proposed. So in summary, the applicant is requesting a conditional use permit to allow construction of an accessory structure without a primary structure. And then potential conditions of approval. The conditional use permit shall only apply to the plan considered at the December 15th, 2022 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing. There shall be no commercial activity conducted out of the accessory structure. The accessory structure shall not be occupied as living space. And then the fourth one we added on here is after that water district email of the applicant shall ensure that septic system complies with the Oldham County Water District Wellhead Protection Area tariff, and approval be obtained from both Oldham County Water District and Oldham County Health Department to ensure compliance with those rules and regulations of the Oldham County Water District. So with that, if you all have any questions?
I do. When we have a primary structure and an ADU is being proposed, what's the percentages? Like, for example, if we work in reverse and we take the size of the building that they're proposing to build, how big must the primary structure be?
So those size requirements will deal with when we're looking at accessory dwelling units. So it's got to be that 25% of the primary structure. This case, just being an accessory structure, they would go off that chart that you all have where it shows the accessory structures and the size requirements based on the land. So that being 5 acres or more, they're nowhere close to that size requirement. Okay. So if they ever put a dwelling unit in it, if they were to change it later on and put a bedroom in it and have somebody live in it, then it would have to go with that 25% of the primary structure square footage. So.
Hey, also, if you could bring up a picture of the map. Yeah, that's fine. Or go one up. Okay. The property on the left is belongs to the water district. I believe you said there are 3 adjacent properties. What are the 3? You got that one?
Yeah. Then there are these 3 right here.
Okay.
That's just a guess. Like I said, they did provide septic approval from the health department. I think he's just wanting to make sure that complies with everything. So I think if everybody kind of just gets an agreement and the applicants agree to that, I think the water district didn't really have a concern. They just want to make sure that.
Okay. What is the property? I'm just going to say north on the right side. Yeah. What is that? Yeah.
It's undeveloped.
And then keep going north. We'll call it north. Yeah. I'm assuming that's a residence.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the first residence.
Right. And they wouldn't have been notified because obviously it's not
adjacent. And then
over here is American Life owns all of this over here.
Okay. And do you know, we'll call it south, below that one and the one even below that one.
Yeah. That looks like maybe there's something down here, but
you don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. And we received nothing in response to anything, through the public notice or anybody else. Just
all right. Further questions of Brian?
I'm sorry.
I do. Gretchen, do you have one? Go ahead.
Regarding that email, that was an email to planning and zoning from the water department. I'm just curious, was it solicited by planning and zoning?
Well, so being an adjoining property owner, they were notified of that because they own that property to the left. So they were notified, and then, like I said, he sent that email, and I hadn't had any conversations with him. I just received that email that he was going to be unable to attend.
What was the date of that email?
What?
The date of that email was the 9th, December 9th? Okay.
And is it correct that you have not heard from Russell Rose since then?
I have not. I did try to reach out to the health department to talk to him to see if that complies, but he was out having surgery the other day. So
So Ryan, my question is, on any of these images that you've displayed, does it show the distance of the proposed structure from the road?
It does on this one. So you're looking 235 feet.
Okay. So, because then I'm going to ask the applicant where they intend to build their home, because this building should then not be in front of the proposed structure that they intend to build. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page with that, looking down the road as well.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Okay, further questions of Ryan? Okay, if we can have the applicants come forward. Good morning. If I can get you swear in and state your name and address.
Hi, I'm Teresa Boone. We live at 6607 Pheasant Run, Charlestown, Indiana.
My name is Charlie Boone, same address, 6607 Pheasant Run, Charlestown.
Right hands. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
And if you can fill in any blanks or justify the project.
Yeah, but he left the map up here, as a matter of fact. So I don't know if you saw our proposal when we actually put the request in, but this property has been in Charlie's family for over 50 years. His uncle bought it, I think in 1971, it was passed on to his aunt, and then his aunt passed away and we bought it from her estate. So it's really important to us to try to keep this property in the family. When we bought it, it was a mess. I mean, it was overgrown with, the seedlings that just become nasty. You couldn't even walk the property to get to the river. So we've spent a lot of time and energy just to get it cleaned up, and eventually we do want to build on it because it's a lovely, beautiful property. So what we've had to do for the past 2 years is we either hire people or we have to trailer equipment down there to kind of keep it mowed. We've spent, we had it seeded this year, so we're expecting a lot of good grass next year. So we needed something to store mowers and just things like that in it. So that's the reason for the structure before the house. We just need a place to kind of keep equipment.
Maintain the property.
Yeah, and so in talking, this whole Russ Rose thing is not any news to us. We've been talking to him constantly for the past 2 years. He's totally aware of what we want to do. We're just going back and forth, trying to make sure that we do get the right septic system. We talked to Charlie Ward when we got the approval. So Russ has been super easy to work with. We just need to make sure that we get the right one. And we did send him a proposal of the septic that was originally planned, and the cost of it is like $10,000, which, I mean, I think you guys can realize that that's pretty large for a septic tank. Now, Oldham County does have, I don't even know what that's called, part of the wellhead protection program where they actually reimburse us for part of that cost. So really, the only point that we're at is just trying to make sure that we get the right septic system that he's going to assign to it. And then that septic system would then also support the house eventually. So question that you asked about the structure, it is going above the driveway. So we're not, part of that reason is we don't want to go into the flood zone, and the flood zone is above the driveway, which is why we've actually put the driveway where it's located. Anything you want to add?
No, I mean, we originally talked to Charlie Ward with the health department, and he came down and did what's it called?
Perk test.
Perk test, basically. And we were approved and everything. Then he got with me and said, hey, your neighbor kind of would rather you put in a better system. We said, well, to be a good neighbor, that's what we'd like to do. So that's where we get involved with Russ Rose. And as far as I know, he's all good with it. He just wants the best system put in, which makes sense because their wells are right next to us. Now, he did tell me, he said, those wells are 120 foot deep. So what you're doing probably will never have any effect on what we're doing. So.
And then you had asked questions about the adjoining property owners. I don't know, Ryan, if you can go back to the one map there. I just wanted to, we know our neighbors, and I kind of just wanted to go over that a little bit. So the vacant property at 5529 is actually owned by the same folks that own 5525. So that's a log home on 5525, and they purchased that vacant property just 2 years ago or a year ago.
Within the last year.
And they don't have any plans to do anything on it. They have actually got some walking trails through it, which is very, very nice. But they use those two together. It's a log home on the front. And then even next to that, going towards LaGrange, if you will, is a home that's closer to the river. And we know those neighbors very well. And we've talked to them about our proposals and and they've been watching all the progress on the property, and they come over and visit us all the time. The one that's next to the water company, the water company is actually, it's my understanding, in negotiations to purchase that property. So they're going to extend over to that property as well. It has a structure on it. I guess
It's 5601. It's got a house down there.
But it's
close to the
abandoned.
river. But Russ is wanting to buy that, and he said they should close on it by the end of the year. So that would open up his property
To go the other way.
to the other side of us.
And he did compliment us on everything that we've done with the property. So, yeah, we've talked to him many times. So I guess that's it. Questions for us?
Thank you. Questions?
Just out of curiosity, I know it says that you don't know when you intend to build the home, so that's really rather vague, but are you talking about a 12-month, 36-month, 10-year time frame? Do you have some idea of that?
We talked about that at length amongst each other. So we want to get this structure going. We want to be able to maintain the property, see how that goes. And as everyone knows, the cost of building materials are just ridiculous right now. So we're looking in our minds financially to look at sometimes maybe in 2024, but not in 2023.
Okay. And if I understood you correctly, the septic system that you've referenced is going to be suitable for the home and the outbuilding.
Correct.
Thank you.
I asked Charlie Ward at the health department, should I put in 2 septic systems or just one? He said, just put in one, tie that half a bath, which we're going to use just when we're up there, and he said, tie that and your house, when you do build that, into one big, which kind of makes sense. So.
And although we don't have any house plans, we're planning on like a 2-2. We're not planning on anything large.
Okay, thank you.
You heard the potential conditions of approval, or Ryan reviewed them. Are you okay with those potential
Absolutely.
conditions of approval? Just real quick, I'll read a couple that I just want to call out. There shall be no commercial activity and no living space.
That's correct.
Okay.
And we agree, yes.
Any further questions? Okay, thank you. All right, is anybody here wishing to speak in favor or opposed to the application? Okay. Board members, questions for anybody? All right, I'll close the floor, open it up for general discussion.
I think that the applicants are well informed of their property, and I find that refreshing. And in light of the fact that they spoke with the water company, the health department, they're looking down the road and they're talking about the septic system being suitable for the building and the primary structure when built. I would be in favor of approving this as submitted based on the testimony of the applicants.
Likewise, a great presentation. Ryan, can you put the your potential conditions of approval? Can you put that slide back up, please? That fourth one is not in the packet, and I just want to be able to reference it. Any other discussion points?
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Okay, I'm ready to take a motion.
Excuse me. Motion to approve the conditional use permit to allow construction of an accessory structure without a primary structure on the property located at 5533 West Highway 524, Westport. The proposed use will not impair the integrity or character of the zone if there are specific restrictions on location, size, extent, and character of performance. Those are within the potential conditions of approval, including The conditional use permit shall not only apply to the plan considered at the December 15th, 2022 Oldham County Board of Adjustment public hearing. There shall be no commercial activity conducted out of the accessory structure. The accessory structure shall not be occupied as a living space. And I'd like to add to those that a septic system is installed to comply with what is specified in the email dated December 9th, 2022 to Oldham County Planning and Zoning from the Oldham County Water Department. That is my motion.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
A second.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It's been approved.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, Gretchen, you want to read the next one?
OC 22-044, an application has been filed requesting a location variance for a proposed detached accessory structure, carport, on a property located at 5407 Pierce Way, Crestwood.
Okay, thank you.
Once again, Ryan Fisher, Oldham County Planning and Development Senior Planner. So the application has been filed requesting a location variance for a proposed detached accessory structure. It's a carport on a property located at 5407 Pierce Way in Crestwood. Sits in a CO1 conservation zoning area. Land use is residential and sits on 0.52 acres of land. Here is the property in question. Your zoning map showing it's in CO1. Here is your current structures map. And then I did add in a contours layer just to show you, because one of the things that the applicant does mention in his justification statement is the lay of the land in the rear. So it goes from about 640 down to about 620 in the rear. So about a 20-foot drop in the rear. My pictures from the front yard don't do it complete justification, but it is pretty steep going back towards the creek. No previous site history. And then same as the last case, on the case history there, the property owner notices were mailed out on December 2nd, and the public notice appeared in the Oldham Era on the 8th. So the applicant is requesting a location variance to allow a 16 by 16, 256 square foot, it's supposed to say accessory structure, to be placed in front of the primary structure. It is currently already there. Code enforcement went out and building inspector and kind of put a stop work order on this particular structure. So you'll see in the pictures that it is currently almost complete, but it is there. So that proposed accessory structure does meet the standards of section 250-030, accessory uses and structures, except for item E and item G. So those are the two that we're kind of looking at here. Item E says that no accessory use or structure shall be located in between the principal building and the front property line. And then item G says that the minimum distance between the buildings must be 5 feet. The site plan shows the carport only being 24 inches from the single-family residential home. Section 250-030 accessory uses. Item E also states that accessory structures shall adhere to the street side yard setbacks. In a CO1 zoning classification, the street side yard setback is 50 feet, and that proposed carport is located 52 feet from the property line, thus complying with that regulation. Item H also states that accessory structures be set back from the rear and side property lines a minimum of 5 feet. Site plan submitted, the right side is really the only one in question here, and the right side of that carport is 20 feet from the right side property line, so it meets that as well. Applicant's justification statements the placement of the structure must be in the location proposed because it's the only available site on the property that is level. And you'll see from the pictures that that is correct. The topography issues in the rear, which were noted with the contours map I showed you. It's the only site accessible to parking a vehicle next to. Safety concerns due to the welding and hot work that he wants to be able to do there on the property. And he needs an outdoor covered area to store kind of the welding rig and perform that welding and hot work. Here is a map provided. I did kind of turn this sideways to kind of show you the area this was the street. I wanted it to be the same orientation as it was when you were looking at the map. So coming in, this is where the carport sits. Once again, 52 feet from the property line in the front, 20 feet from the right, which complies with both of those regulations. But then we've got the 24 inches from the front of the house. You'll see that here on a picture in just a second. So here are the pictures of the property. Once again, looking down, and this is the carport in question that has started to be built. Another view of it does give you a little bit of an idea of the slope of the land looking down towards the rear of that property. Another closer up view of the carport. Here's a give you an idea of how close we are to the front of that garage. So as far as when I met with the applicant, the rest of the work to be done, this corrugated metal on the ground, that will be going on the roof to put just a covering on the roof. There won't be anything on the sides. The applicant can allude a little bit more about the other remaining work, but when we met with him, he did talk about that. Here are the brackets, how they're mounted to the existing driveway on that left side of the carport. So in summary, the applicant is requesting a variance to allow the placement of an accessory structure, the carport, in front of the primary structure. Variance, potential conditions of approval, that variance shall only apply to the application considered at the December 15th, 2022 Oldham County Board of Adjustments public hearing. There shall be no commercial activity conducted from the accessory structure. And the applicant shall apply for and obtain any required building permits and inspections for work performed on the carport and comply with all applicable building codes. Does anybody have any questions?
Questions for Ryan?
The,
Question.
go ahead.
Did the applicant have building permits? Did he obtain building permits?
Applied for a building permit at this point.
When he started, he hadn't applied for a building permit.
That is my understanding. So yeah, they issued that stop order. He has applied for one, but they don't deal with anything with him until this gets finished.
Okay. Ron?
Gretchen?
The setbacks are in compliance with the neighbor's property, correct? The side property where there is a neighbor. The only variances that are needed are those that apply to his structure, correct?
Right. So the only two that we're worried about is it's in front of the primary structure, which has to require the variance for the location, and then really the 24 inches from the front because it's supposed to be 5 feet between structures. So.
Was there a complaint filed that caused the inspection or someone to go and put a stop work order, or did they just coincidentally be happening to be driving by?
Code enforcement would have to answer that, or the building inspector. I do know that street is a dead-end street, so I don't think it was a case where they just happened to be driving past, but I can't answer that for sure.
Did you receive any letters in support or in opposition of this applicant?
So I will show this. I was just waiting for you to ask. So I did receive a call from an adjoining property owner that said he was strongly opposed to the project. I talked to him about his concerns. I told him to write me an email that he could send in. So I will show that at this time, and then I will put it into the record as well. So you can look over that, but pretty much well, I'll just let you all read over it.
Ryan, do you know the address of the property owner of this letter? Am I missing it?
I believe,
It's at 50, he's at 5407, but that's the address of the application.
he is at 5408. I know he's across the street. I believe it's this one.
Then I'm going to ask you, he alluding to the difference of owner and applicant. Or do I need to ask the applicant? Is the applicant currently the deed holder to the property? Or
Yeah.
This opposition letter stating some discrepancy.
You may want to ask the owner. So the deed lists Stephen Huey and Ellen Stubbs,
Okay,
husband and wife. So now,
I see applicant for clarification on that. Thank you. Now, I guess I've got this letter, and then also the justification statement also brings me to ask another question. Is this applicant trying to do an at-home business, and has there been an application requested for that?
there has not been an application for any sort of home occupation. We did talk with the owner a little, or the applicant a little bit about that when they were out there, but I think he might be able to answer those questions a little bit more.
Any other questions? Brian, could you, I just want to see a different picture of the subject lot here. Do you have one that shows this lot and the neighbors? I don't recall if you had one or not.
That's probably the closest one to show you. Do you want
So,
the aerial, the overhead?
Yeah, show me the aerial. That's fine right there. There we go. That one's fine. And you are unaware of the address of the email or letter that you got? You are unaware of that? You believe it's 5408?
I'm fairly certain. 99.97%.
You can just leave that map up. Yes. Any other questions for Ryan? All right, thanks, Ryan. If we can have the applicant come forward. Morning.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Ma'am.
Thank you.
And state your name and address, please.
My name is Scott Stubbs. My address is 5407 Pierce Way, Crestwood, Kentucky, 40014.
Okay. All right. And if you can fill in any gaps or justify the project, you heard some of the questioning, so you may want to address that.
So my wife and I moved here to Crestwood in June of this year. We were residing in a 115-year-old house around Churchill Downs, and it had a lot of lead in it, and we were facing a lead abatement situation. My daughter's blood lead levels were coming back really high. She's 3. My son's blood lead levels were also coming back high, and so we needed to get out of there. And so my brother-in-law and my sister purchased this house and are allowing us to rent it from them. So we moved out here to Crestwood in June, and awesome. Out here, having Floyd's Fork in our backyard is amazing for the kids. The school system is the best in the state, and so we're really fortunate to have moved out here. We're very lucky. My wife and I are both craftspeople. She makes leather handbags in the basement and sells them online. And I recently stopped. I was running a crew for Limb Walker Tree Service out of Jefferson County, climbing trees, doing manual removals, and I quit that job because of an injury. And I've been doing smaller tree work, but I've been trying to transition to the sole proprietorship of a business where I make things out of metal and sell them online as well. So my wife and I are both trying to provide for our family by practicing our craft, and I need a safe place to do that. The adjoining, the garage that is attached to the house has woodworking equipment in it, and that's where I do my woodworking. And I do not desire to make any sparks in there because I don't want to light the house on fire. But I am a metal worker, and I've been in and around industrial processes and manufacturing processes my entire life. I consider myself a pretty good welder, and I need a place to make sparks. I need a place to park my welder and keep it dry. I need a place to use my oxyacetylene burning rig. I need a place to use my torches and my welders, and I don't want to do that in the house. So this is really, for me, this is all just about safety, about the safety of my family. And as far as the site itself, it's the least topographically dynamic spot in the yard. It's as level as the yard gets. In the back, I feel like it would be prohibitively labor intensive and perhaps expensive to move the materials down there. Also, occasionally, I believe Floyd's Fork floods and might destroy whatever I build down there in the bottom. So this really is, in my opinion, the best place to build said structure. Also wanting to park my vehicle underneath it, it would be nice if it was adjacent to the driveway. Mea culpa. I should have done my due diligence. I should have done a lot of things. I should have asked if I needed to get a permit. I should have learned how close it can be to the primary structure. I should have learned a lot of things, but I had the materials and I needed the space, so I went ahead and started construction. Really, that's really all the justifications I can think of. Really, just keeping my family safe, not lighting the house on fire, and keeping my equipment dry and a place to store my scrap metal so it's not out in the front yard.
Okay, Scott, is it that you're just right off the get my initial question? I guess you are not the owner of the house, correct?
Negative.
You're renting. You're renting. Okay. So I guess for staff, yeah, I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to approve this not being the owner. Will not receive an approval from me. So we're a board of 5. I'm not the only voice, but I guess this probably should have been stopped by staff, I'm guessing. But we're here. We are where we are. I'm telling the board that it will not receive my approval, just simply for that reason alone. Board, do we want to continue with questioning, or are we in agreement?
It appears that Ryan has something to say. I'm curious to see what staff has to say.
I just wanted to say, as you all were talking, I did go back and look at the application. So the application is filled out by Mr. Stubbs. It is signed by the owner, Stephen Yu, as his signature. And it says, please describe the requested variance. And it says, homeowner desires a carport near driveway. Best place location is directly adjacent and in front of house. So it says homeowner. I'll put this up on the screen.
Put it up.
That's
So there's the,
should say renter.
so
Steve was giving me. I'm sorry.
you probably,
Steve is the owner. He and my sister are the owner, and he has told me to treat it like it's my own. So that probably bears no impact at all. But no, that should say renter or current resident, maybe.
And the paper that you just were talking about, that is a statement to planning and zoning, correct? But since the application came in for the building permit, was that submitted by the owner? The building
I
permit?
don't accept the building permits. That would be our permit clerk, so I haven't seen the building permit. I just know one has been applied for. I don't. But when we look at these, I mean, we look at them in the case of, you know, if a contractor were to come in and apply for the variance, and we have the owner signed, you know.
Can you move that up just a little bit? I want to see the signature. Scott, can you come to the mic, please? Is that your signature, Scott?
Those are my signature.
Okay. So again, Scott, you filled out the application, you've signed the application, even though we have the verbiage here, we do not have anything from the actual homeowner.
Sir.
Okay. Thank you for your honesty, Scott. I mean, again, staff, we can talk later about it, but board members, this will not receive my approval. I ask the board again, do we continue with this? Asking questions of the applicant? What do y'all want to do?
I don't think so. I think based on that alone, and I would like to know if the building permit actually was submitted by the owner or by the applicant. Pardon me? Oh, well then, that's not permitted.
Would you like to make a motion to?
Yes. Sorry, one moment. Motion to deny a location variance for a proposed detached accessory structure carport on the property located at 5407 Pierce Way, Crestwood. Based on some of these abnormalities as far as who actually applied for the building permit and for the variance, it's really not something we should be able to move forward with. It's not necessarily for me anyway, the position of the structure, but even if we were going to move ahead, there are issues with the usage that is stated in your application. The neighbor has been pretty clear about how they feel about it, and I do agree with that, the fact that that type of work would affect the aesthetics and possibly sparks and noise for the adjacent properties as well.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay, it's been denied. Okay, board members, minutes. We've all received the minutes from last month. Any questions or adjustments?
That's a good question.
You weren't here. Okay, if not, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the minutes?
Second. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Minutes approved. And any other business?
So I gave you all your training records. So just so everybody is aware, I know I've talked to several of you all, but 8 hours every 2-year cycle. So all of you except for Miss Chitwood is on that cycle of 2022 to 2023. So you all have until December of 2023 to get those 8 hours. Do you have a question?
No, I'm looking at that. So 2022. So I actually need 8, not 5, correct? In this one.
So,
For 20.
I sent I think several weeks ago, you all had originally asked about this the last meeting. I sent out that YouTube link.
Oh, getting that.
Really?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay.
You send it again to me because I don't think I get it.
It's just a YouTube link that has a lot of different planning sessions on it. They're usually about an hour in length. If you do any of those, just send those to me that you did, and I'll add those in.
But I am sorry, I'm confused about the time. So I've got 5 hours as of 2022. Do I just need to do 3 before 2023, and then I can complete the rest, the other 5 during 23 to 24?
Says 2021-2022 on it. So you're on the cycle of, and it comes on from when you come on the board. It's a 2-year cycle from that. So you have to get 8 hours by the end of December.
Oh, by this year, 22. So
You have to do
a
it all
couple of
over
weeks. You got
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We can do that. I'll just put my headphones on and let's listen to it.
So if you all do anything like that, just send me that link to what you did, and then I'll send that back out again today as well.
Just to do the title and
Just do the title and put the hour.
the title.
Most of them are like an hour long. Some are a half an hour. So
I did go through them, but I just haven't had a chance to do them yet. All right, thank you.
then. The next meeting is January 19th. We already do have stuff turned in for that, so we will have a meeting January 19th in the new year.
Great.
That's all I've got.
very good. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
To adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Meeting adjourned.